Rogan. I'm going to start off talking about Joe Rogan. Don't worry, we will talk about the slow death of Christianity in a few minutes, but I came up with 2 videos about Mr. Rogan and about how he explains the relationship between data, information, and knowledge. I did 2 videos. These are short, 13 seconds apiece, everyone. But I want you, the viewers, to comment on which one you like better. How about that? So I'm going to show you the first one, and then we'll do the second one. How's that? Okay, that was the first video. Once again, I want your honest opinion. Second video. Okay, so if you're not a content creator on YouTube and utilizing these shorts to at least increase your reach, then you're missing out. I don't talk about the algorithm that much because I hate the algorithm, but yeah, I've had a lot of fun on shorts. I don't know which one you like better. I did the first short second. So that was, I talked with Jimmy Lou, actually, the Reverend Brother Heathen, and he gave me some ideas about how to amp up the video. So the very end with Joe Rogan saying not to get vaccinated and conspiracy theory, that was partly inspired by Jimmy Lou, everyone. So good morning. Put a little smile. You know, you like the first one? So do I. I like the first one too. Yeah, music from one video. Yep. Yeah. Oh, interesting, Dave. I'm gonna say something really nice about Joe Rogan right now. Believe it or not, I have made fun of Joe Rogan. I have poked fun at Joe Rogan on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief. One of my blog posts about him went viral, got me on USA Today. But I'm going to say something nice about Joe Rogan right now, and I'm going to prophesize. I'm going to use my mad powers of prophesying. I'm going to predict the future. I think at some point he is going to change his mind about vaccinations, about ivermectin. I think he's going to change his mind because he has had a lot of crazy ideas in his time, and he's changed his mind about those crazy ideas. At one point, he didn't think the moon landing was real. Maybe he was a big fan of Bigfoot, I think was one of his big conspiracy theories. And over time, he's been able to think himself out of those little cul-de-sacs. I think it's going to be the same way. Unfortunately, Joe Rogan is going to be helping to kill a bunch of nanas and granddads and immunocompromised people because he's putting out this filth and garbage about COVID-19. So that's why I make fun. And that's why, wow, bringing the party down this morning, right? Microphone, bringing the party down. So yes, I just want to say thank you for putting in your inputs. I like the first video too better. The second video, which happened to be the first one I posted, got about 800 views or so. I'm not unhappy about that, but I think yeah. So once again, I want to say thanks to Jimmy Lou, the Reverend Brother Heathen, and the Church of Heretics. All right, everyone. If you want to talk about the death of Christianity, Microphone wants to talk about the death of Christianity here in the United States of America. Let's remember that the United States of America is the most religious of the industrialized countries on the planet. Well, there's a sign, another sign that its power is waning here in the States. Let's take a look at the story. And once again, all the links to the stories are in the description below. This, I believe, is from the Friendly Atheist, Hemet Meta. Church attendance is declining even on military bases. Kalu Kalay, good news, everyone. It's no surprise that church attendance is on the decline, given that younger people are less religious in general. The pandemic didn't help, but here's an interesting twist on this situation. It turns out church attendance is suffering even on military bases. Oh no, not that. You mean military bases may not be hotbeds of white supremacist Christian nationalism? That's horrible. Thomas Novelly of the Post and Courier writes about how the chapel at Joint Base Charleston in South Carolina may be on the verge of closing, or at least canceling some services because of a lack of interest. Lieutenant Colonel Joel Koenige, that's how I'm pronouncing it, microphone, the senior chaplain at Joint Base Charleston, has told the congregants the number of military retirees attending has dwindled significantly over the years, and there are too few active duty airmen in attendance each week. We have seen roughly a 30% drop in attendance in our Sunday morning Protestant worship service, Koenige said in a statement. Koenige has told longtime churchgoers that participation needs to rise to warrant keeping the service time on the schedule. The 30% drop represents overall numbers, but specific services can be even worse. The article notes that attendance for one type of service went from 120 to 40 before and after the pandemic. The Protestant services may be cut, but the Catholic churches will continue. Of course they will, because it's the Catholic Church, right? So this is a good news. On this military base, they're definitely closing down some of the church services, and that's a net plus for civilization on the whole. Yes, I'm going to say civilization. I'm going to be a little hyperbolic. I'm going to say, if the military becomes less religious, microphone, I think it's only a net positive for all of us. Don't you think so? Microphone thinks so too. I'm going to check out the chat. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Threw a lot at you. Joe Rogan, the death of Christianity. There's a lot going on this morning. Good morning, Tobin Templeman. I hope you're doing okay. John Hudson, good morning. Grant Farmer. Simply Secular Dave. Simply Secular, I saw a commercial last night, an anti-Canada healthcare commercial. You see, here in the States, we've been flooded with commercials such as Facebook is your friend. Social media companies are great. The fossil fuel industries, the best thing since sliced cancer. And last night, I saw my first, for a while, Canadian healthcare is bad. We do not want any part of it. That is, of course, because there's a bill in Congress about the federal government intervening on drug costs. And so the pharmaceutical companies, along with the fossil fuel companies, along with social media companies, are crapping their pants because they are afraid that someone may actually regulate them. Incredible. What's up, Jess M? So many things to talk about. But Andy, what about the morality of our society? Exactly. If the military loses its Jesus, maybe they'll kill less efficiently. I don't know how that logic goes, everyone. I don't know how that logic goes. I guess the church can be relegated to a corner booth at IHOP. I guess it can. John also says, isn't it interesting how religion declines as scientific understanding becomes more and more prevalent? There is a positive feedback loop between scientific improvement and those improvements helping society become less shitty, right? And then the death of religion, or the decrease in religion. Wild Eden writes, there is a bill in UK Parliament to allow assisted dying, which is supported by medical professionals. Unfortunately, the Bishop of Canterbury, who sits on the House of Lords, is against the bill. Of course he is. Of course he is. Oh, everyone. You want to do some halftime tummy rub show? I got some cat videos. I mean, to make you feel good. So let's do one right now.
Guys, I taught my cat to laugh. Okay, ready? Hold on. Kotar. Can I get the ha ha? Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha.
Oh, that was great. How can that not put a smile on your face? A cat laughing. I don't know how many takes it took him to do that, but it's pure magic. All right. Good morning, Kendra. Good morning. Glad to see that you're here. All right. So what's the next story we're going to be talking? Oh, the next story. Okay. So we've been talking about climate change, and one of the themes that I've been following is how climate change is actually a national security issue for the United States of America, but for every country in the world. It's a national security issue because of the chaos it is bringing and going to bring to the world. Link to this story is in the description below. Oh, and I should also mention there's the open room, the after party. So if you want to join us, if you're part of the community, if you want to join us, then the link to be on the panel is in the description below. The after party goes from 9:30 to 10:30. We should have a lot of fun, right? All right. Kitty laughs. That's right. Right. Laughing cats are always a plus. All right. So what's this? Oh, we're getting back down to business. This is serious, right? Is this the right one? No, that's not the right one. Here's the right one. Climate change is a risk to national security, the Pentagon says. Here we go. I believe this is from the department. I forget if it's from NPR or the BBC. I think it's NPR. The Department of Defense says climate change is already challenging U.S. national security in concrete ways. In a report last week, the Pentagon found that increasing temperatures, changing precipitation patterns, and more frequent, intense, and unpredictable extreme weather conditions caused by climate change are exacerbating existing risks for the U.S. For example, recent extreme weather has cost billions in damages to U.S. military installations, including Tyndall Air Force Base and Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune. Also, the military bases in Guam and the Marshall Islands that are vulnerable to rising seas. And China may be taking advantage of U.S. susceptibility, the Pentagon says. I don't even know if Guam and the Marshall Islands are still going to exist in 50 years if sea levels rise. I haven't seen the numbers on that. So there was a conversation with the Department of Defense, and here's some with the person heading, the Secretary of the Department of Defense, and here's a bit from their talk. Climate change, this is from the Department of Defense, climate change is really increasing the number and frequency of missions that we're executing here in the Department of Defense. Let's look at firefighting. This is disturbing information, everyone. Severe drought has led to increasing fire seasons, lengthening of fire season. It's to the point where our National Guard Bureau Chief has started to talk about fire season becoming fire year. And in fact, we have in the last 5 years gone from about 14,000 personnel days for U.S. National Guard members to, in 2021, 176 person days spent just on firefighting. So the National Guard spending a ton of time, 176,000 hours in 2021 alone, in fighting forest fires. Climate migration, which we have talked about on this channel so many times. But this is from the Department of Defense. Climate migration is absolutely affecting the U.S. directly. at our southern border, through the northern triangle countries of Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras, where farmers cannot grow crops, their traditional approaches to sustaining livelihood are very challenged. We've also seen that happen, of course, from Africa going up into Europe and other regions of the world. If you switch your lens to somewhere like the Pacific region, where the challenge is not so much drought, it's about sea level rise. There are Pacific islands that are in an existential crisis, and they will, I'm just my editorializing here, will go underwater. Think of Bangladesh. Think of portions of India, Indonesia, very populated countries. That scale of climate migration potential is significant. Millions, tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of people. When you think about Bangladesh, when you think about low areas in India, have you looked at what's going to happen to the Netherlands and parts of Germany, or even England? There'll be, if the global climate crisis isn't dealt with, then the chaos that we saw from the mass migrations after the forever wars, right? After the invasion of Iraq, after the disaster in Syria, those are going to look small. Happy news. I do have one more story I'm going to talk about. I'm going to check out the chat. Yes, Grand Farmer, that's right. The Pentagon has been saying that the climate change is a national security risk for years. And when we talk to our conservative friends and relatives about global climate change, this is an important point. This is what I like to talk about, is that if the Pentagon, if the Department of Defense realizes that this is an existential issue, that this creates a security threat to our country, then we should do something about it. I think it's a good talking point when being in conversation with conservatives, or even with people who are just on the fence, who aren't really sure about global climate change. Sean says, we just had a rainstorm in California yesterday, but it didn't last long. Yes. Yeah, I've heard that it's going to be a cold winter, but not a very wet winter for California. I don't know how much precipitation you folks are going to be getting. Oh, hey, I'm glad that the laughing cat gave you some laughs, Scott Duke. Indeed. All right. So there's some people still who want you to think that COVID-19 isn't a big deal. I know, it's crazy. Those are crazy people, right? Microphone, well, they're deluded at the very least. And I want to share with you a video about the COVID disaster in Russia. I'm going to share with you this video. You get to see me hit a couple of buttons here. Very exciting stuff, these live shows. Russia deals with COVID-19 deaths and low vaccine rates. So let's take a look at this video just to get an international look, because we haven't heard a lot about Russia on this, about their COVID-19 responses. We've been focusing on Israel and New Zealand and other countries about how they've been dealing with the crisis. But here's what's going on in the Russian Federation right now. Oh, let me mute my mic first, everyone. Thank you.
Russia's COVID-19 crisis deepened on Sunday, with the country reporting at least 1,072 deaths. 35,660 new cases were also reported, more than 5,000 of them in the capital, Moscow. President Vladimir Putin this week approved a nationwide workplace shutdown in the first week of November. Moscow will reimpose a partial lockdown from Thursday, with only essential shops, including pharmacies and supermarkets, allowed to remain open. Authorities in St. Petersburg also announced on Saturday that the city will introduce the same measures from October 30th. Despite developing its own COVID-19 vaccine early in the pandemic, Russia has vaccinated only about a third of its population, one of the lowest rates in Europe, with citizens citing distrust of the authorities and new medical products.
Admirals cross.
So the Russians have only vaccinated 1/3 of their population because people don't trust the government. And there are a lot of reasons why not to trust the Russian government. And when we talk about countries and we talk about their populations imploding, Russia's population has been imploding for years before the COVID pandemic. It's a huge country and its population is just decreasing over time, and COVID-19 is just accelerating that. Okay. You want to do something funny? You want to do another cat video before we start closing down the show, everyone? Let's do that. I like the cats with the little feet, with the little legs. They're like corgis, right? They're like corgi cats. They just really, I get too much entertainment from watching cats with little legs. That's just me, everyone. Hey, so once again, no ads on this channel, except for some of the old videos. But hey, so if you can contribute, thanks. If you can't, thanks for just watching, for lurking. I saw part of Rage's, I just want to say this too. I saw part of Rage's video on Dave Chappelle. I'm probably going to be watching a bit more of that video in between this show and the open room. I like what I've been hearing so far from what Rage was talking about how a lot of MAGA people are supporting Dave Chappelle. Of course they are, because Dave is a useful fool. I think that's the official term I'm going to use for Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle, people who fight against woke culture. They're useful fools for the right. And so if you haven't checked out that video by Rage, the Raging Atheist, it's worth your time. All right, everyone, 9:30. We're doing the open room. I don't know what we're going to be talking about. I don't know, but I'll see you then. I'm going to drop that video thanking YouTube members and patrons. Well, now I have to thank Sean for the shekels. I'll have a Guinness on you, sir. Definitely. I will have maybe 2 Guinnesses. I think you get 2 Guinnesses out of that. All right. Thanks, Sean. I'll see everyone at 9:30. Take care.